You want me to begin now?
Yeah,
Okay. I had to keep my why close by. I had to always remind myself of the reason that I had embarked on this journey. And I embarked on the journey way in the early 70s. And during that time, there were a lot of shifts culturally going on in the nation. Black power was part of it. It was a lot of different things going on. And I just felt, after graduating from college in '74, that I could do anything I wanted. But the whole concept of losing weight and all of that was a little different. There was no obesity epidemic at that time. You understand?
How true. I never thought about that.
I actually lived through the introduction of the salad bar. When I first started my journey, there were no artificial sweeteners to the extent that we have them now. There was something called the saccharin tablets, and you bought them in the pharmacy. There was no Sweet and Low. There was no Equal. There were two diet sodas. You had Tab, you had Fresca, and there was something else called Diet Right Cola. Actually, there were three. So you didn't have all of these selections, all of these waters, and all of this. The nation really had not embarked or embraced this epidemic that we have with obesity and this diet industry. But you still had people who were losing weight. Thus, you had Weight Watchers that was introduced in 1963. But it wasn't as big as it was today. And you had its competitor, Diet Workshop, which used to be held up at it had little classes too, just like Weight Watchers. You had something called TOPS. You had little organizations, but nothing on the level of today. And my culture really had not embraced it like they have today. So I would go to the meetings, and sometimes I was the only one in there that looked like me.
Really?
The only one that looked like me. And I was beginning to think, was this really for me?
Yes.
My culture would tell me, I don't know why you're wasting your time. We are not as small as the Europeans. Our bone structure is different than the Europeans. And this chart that they were using to determine my healthy weight was from the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. And they would show you different weights categorized by age and height. So what they were showing me, when I showed it to my mother, she said, those people got to be out their mind. You didn't weigh that when you were in elementary school. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, and I want to, that was a very important point, because when I was 220 pounds, my sister had lost weight.
Oh, wow.
And she had gotten down to a size 8. And for the first time in my life, I had saw us small.
Okay.
So if you can't imagine yourself, or you've never seen yourself with that stature, it's hard to believe.
Yes.
And as a society, if your culture is a certain way, it's hard to not see it that way.
That's right.
And I can totally get that. So when she lost weight, that was my inspiration, because we were the same DNA.
Okay.
And I said, oh my God, I'm not really this huge girl, and I don't have to live up to that, and I can do this. So when you say that was your why, or what your why was, having an actual vision of my sister, my blood, was my inspiration to know that I could do it, that it was possible, because before that I didn't think it was, and I think that's what you're referring to. People think it's not possible, that's not us.
That's not us,
this
right?
Is that they're not there in that mindset, that it's not that they didn't want to be. I think sometimes you just can't get it out of your head.
You can't get it out of your head. And then when your life is surrounded by those messages, it's difficult to believe something differently. But I so much believed that in my trying, in my work, and I would stay after the meetings every week and listen to the introduction that the leader would give to the new members, to listen what she was telling them about their journey. I needed to be reinforced with the things that I would need to do. And one thing that Weight Watchers drove home early on was a structure of eating. They had introduced me to lean meats, fish, and poultry, whole grains.
Lean is a great name.
Yes. Yes. You know, fruits and vegetables and all of these things that they introduced me to. And each time I would try, I would last maybe until the 3rd month. And then because my results were not quick, I wanted fast. I thought, with all this work I'm putting into it, surely I should be thinner than this. But what I did not take in consideration was that the mind takes its own time, and that's what would have to change first. The body had changed over and over, and I would just regain the weight. The body would change, but the mind was the same.
Exactly. I love this. This is such good information, because as a coach, that's my job.
Yeah.
I can give you information on day one, and you can take it home, but the coach, when you don't feel well, when you're emotional, when your kids are stressed. My kids would come home from school and I open the refrigerator as an immediate reaction.
Yes, yes.
That's the mind that you're talking about.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's the crash and burn. Maybe you do crash and burn, but you get up again.
Yes.
You know, the fluctuations. Because they had a chart of the natural weight loss progress, and it's up and down with a continual downward trend. So you may go up 3, down 4, up 1, down, but overall it should be a decline.
Yes.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight.
It's going to be over time.
People say, it's a cliche, it didn't come on overnight, it ain't going to go off overnight. I understand that. But what most people have to understand, the mind change that needs to happen is not going to happen overnight. You're not even thinking that's really what's going to have to take place in order for it. I'll give you an example. My husband and I love to travel. We take a lot of cruises. In fact, we're getting ready to take a big one next month. I'm so excited. And I mean, these cruises are not 7 days. This one we're doing next month is 28.
Wow.
People say to me, oh my God, how do you manage your eating? Well, first of all, I don't look at the cruise ship as a big kitchen. I look at it as a city that has everything that I need. Their choices. They have a gym I choose to get up in the morning and go to. They have food selections that are very, very healthy, which I choose to make. If I'm living in a city, I look at it as a city that has restaurants, am I going to, for 7 days, make poor choices just because I'm on vacation? No. The lifestyle continues. I will pick and choose the days that I will eat eloquently. You know, I'll go to these restaurants, I might eat a little differently. But the phrase, I'm falling off the plan, is never part of my thought process.
And I know that's part of my coaching program as well. I call it dialing up and dialing it down.
Yes.
Don't turn it off.
Right. Don't turn it off.
Exactly. You may have days where there's not a lot going on and you're 100%, you're following everything. Then you may have a cruise where you may not be 100, but you don't have to go to 0.
Don't cut it off. I mean, and then what is your goal in terms of you before you get on that cruise ship? Do you want to come back heavier? Do you want to come back lighter? Do you want to maintain? You gotta put goals in place. I choose not to bring more weight back. The only weight I want to bring back is souvenirs.
And it's so true. We have a challenge almost in our group when people go on vacation. We get excited.
Yes.
Because we're like, okay, we have people come back and weigh less.
Yes.
One reason is because they are working out and they're getting up every morning and riding their bike or moving, and they're enjoying themselves, but they're also more balanced, where at work they may not have the time to go to the gym or do those things.
That's
as well.
right.
But they're so happy when they come back because they realize not only they still feel good and they didn't feel like their vacation caught them as a victim.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And that's the victory. Not only do I want to feel good when I come back, I want to feel, well, first of all, there will be times while I'm away that I'm going to say, oh my goodness, I can't let happen tomorrow what's happened today. There are going to be times like that because it's going to be enjoyable. I'll be eating foods I haven't eaten before. I'll be drinking cocktails I haven't drank before. I'm going to be doing all of that. But everything has got to have some type of moderation. Yes. And I have got to tell myself that daily. And I am a healthy person. I am a person who tries to make healthy choices. And like you say, I can't take the switch and say off.
Off, right.
You can't do that.
Just let it go.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to say, I think that you were a leader in your culture. Do you feel like you have been able to raise the bar, raise the standard, or bring the standard back for eating in your community? I mean, I think that's something I wasn't planning on asking you today, but now the more that I hear you, it's, you know, you took a stand when other people didn't against something, and you were able to see something when others couldn't.
Yes.
You know, what have you, in your 20 years, do you think that you've been an active member in your community to help give back? Would you mind?
Yes, out of all the years that I've worked for Weight Watchers, the most rewarding years was the years when we partnered with Baltimore City Department of Social Services, and I went and worked with the young mothers in the inner city, and you know, Weight Watchers was eager to do that, and of course they wanted me to teach them the Weight Watchers system, but I encourage Weight Watchers not to go that way as much as they would go teaching them new behaviors as it applied to food. Teaching them that although they live in a food desert, there are healthy choices if they look for them. You know, I took a team of my colleagues down to Lexington Market. Some of them had never been to that market, and I showed them choices that my culture could make, such as the gizzards and livers, Mary Mervis shrimp salad sandwiches, back in the back with Miss Angie's chitlins and different things like that. But then I also showed them, look at all of the fruits and vegetables that are here. If you tell them what the foods are that will help them reach some of their goals, they will go out of their way. We will go out of our way as a people to demand it in the community. We demanded that nail technicians come in our community to give us glamorous nails. Other communities have been having their nails done for years. We demanded that beautiful hair be brought into our community so we could get these beautiful hairstyles. People have been going to the beauty shop for years. We will invest in those things, but we will not take a stand when it comes to what's going on the corners of our communities. And that's where I came in. I came in to try to fight for these corner stores to put better foods in the community. Now, the argument that I got was we can stock this stuff, but it will go bad because the people will not buy it. And I understand that too. And I'm happy to see now that there are pockets within the communities that are now getting on board with trying to have better selections. And the only way we will buy into that is for us to know that if you do these things, there are results that are more favorable than the results of eating processed foods too much and different things like that. So my whole thing was teaching a behavior so that the young mothers can teach their children, because you see, it's a generational curse in our communities, the way we're eating and the choices that we're making toward foods and lack of activity.
And I agree with you, but that's why I'm here. You may not know this, but on my business card and my logo, I have a bridge. And I'm standing at the top of the bridge, not because I'm at the top of the world, but because I'm taking different communities, because I'm from a mixed background, both ways. It's not just a one way. There's things that I've learned in one community that I give to the other and vice versa.
Yes.
And I think being in our field, because weight loss affects everyone.
Yes.
It's not how much money you have. It's not like what color you are. It's not how old you are. It crosses all the lines.
All the lines.
So we've been exposed to lots of communities and different lifestyles, and I take whatever I can from one lifestyle and try to feed that information back to another. That's probably why you're here today.
Oh.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's getting that information out there, and the more you hear it, the more it becomes real and actually doable.
Yes.
You know, the more stories you hear, the more people you see that do it, then you're like, oh, okay, just like my sister. It becomes real. So we're going to close up. This has been a great interview. I would like for you to leave us with one last thing, one last story that you would like to share